Every Florida Gators freshman is the greatest player to ever touch a football field.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free reviews in the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Tuesday. I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by the all-new 2025 Nissan Armada. Stay with us for the Armada Team of the Week later in the episode. And we're talking about the freshmen today because last week the Florida Gators had their first two practices of spring ball. Then they went on spring break, so they aren't practicing right now. But during those two practices, every clip that came out of freshmen, because there were a lot of clips that came out of a lot of freshmen. And don't forget, freshmen were always going to be heavily featured this spring because of how banged up Florida's roster is right now, which again, for me right now, not a concern. It's just not. Maybe by the end of spring, if the roster is not more put together, then sure. But right now, it's just not a big concern for me. But with all those clips that came out, every freshman is apparently the greatest thing that's ever touched a football field. Everybody just sees a freshman and goes, "Oh, that dude's going to take someone's spot." Every time. It never fails. Social media, guy going through a walkthrough, and it's just that guy, he's taking someone's spot. He's doing it. Well, no. Just we're going to be honest here. No. But there will be some freshmen that play. And so I'm going to go down the list with how they're ranked or rated, I guess, by 24/7. And so we're going to go down that list. And essentially, we're going to look through and see really who's going to, I think, redshirt or not redshirt. The first player is Vernell Brown III. He's not redshirting. He's a guy where I look at what he does as a receiver in high school, or did as a receiver in high school at Jones. And I look at his movement skills. I look at what he does with the ball in his hands after the catch. I look at what he does on special teams. And I see Vernell Brown III, and I go, that kid's not redshirting. I don't know how involved he's going to be in the offense. I would imagine he's going to be one of the returners on kick or punt. And I would imagine he would rotate into the offense. I'm not going to say that anybody's starting or not. I will say, though, yesterday, I think it was, where I was like, hey, Florida might have like 7 receivers that rotate in fairly consistently. Vernell Brown III is in that 7, okay? I don't know exactly who the 7 are, but Vernell Brown is in there. So Vernell Brown is a guy that I don't think is going to redshirt. I don't think should redshirt. I think he's really good, really versatile, and dynamic, and that opens things up, right? Then there's Ben Hanks the third. I almost said junior. Ben Hanks the third. And Ben Hanks is someone that I'm torn because I don't think Florida needs to burn a red shirt for him. Right now, he's going to get a lot of reps. And so if he impresses in those reps, then maybe they burn the red shirt. But when I look at just this corner room, so much of it is, I know people talk about, this secondary is not inexperienced. This secondary is this secondary is that. What the secondary is to me, what the corner room is to me at least, is unproven, right? Dijon Johnson had what I thought was a good year in 2024. Devin Moore has always been pretty good when he stays healthy, but he hasn't been healthy. Cormani McLean had some bright spots, had some really rough spots last year. All the physical tools to be an elite corner at the NFL level. Like that's the kind of physical tools that we're talking about with Cormani McLean. That you could look at him and you could say, those are elite tools at the NFL level. That's different. Okay, that's a different breed of corner. If he can get coached up, he should be a significant player. Jameer Grimsley, banged up. Teddy Foster, we'll see what he can become. Florida has a lot of young players. Michael Caraway Jr. from Southern Miss is reportedly playing outside corner more than anything else. Maybe there's not enough to justify burning someone's red shirt, right? So Ben Hanks Jr. or Ben Hanks III is someone that I'm saying I don't think he's going to burn his red shirt, but it wouldn't shock me if he did. And I'm also only talking about the enrollees because we're talking about people who have had spring clips come out of them. So I'm not talking about the guys that haven't enrolled yet. Typically, I don't expect guys that enroll in June or May to contribute much. Just because it's tough as a true freshman to earn that playing time and learn the playbook. So Ben Hanks, someone that I don't think will burn his red shirt, but yeah, if he does, I wouldn't be surprised at all. It's just about, do you burn the red shirt for a guy that's going to rotate and play 8 to 10 snaps sometimes? I don't know. We'll see. If it were up to me or if I had to guess right now, I would think that with Ben Hanks, they rotate him in for the first 4 games before he would burn a red shirt. Give him a lot of time against Long Island if you can. Give him a lot of time in any games that may get out of hand early on and see what you got and make the decision then. I don't think he's a player you got to decide right now. Dallas Wilson, light the red shirt on fire. I mean, he's the guy where you watch him play and everybody looks at him and they go, one of them ones. He's a dude. Everybody you've ever spoken to that's watched him play football at any level will say he's a dude. No other way to put it. And so Dallas Wilson, I would be, as long as he's healthy, I would be jaw on the floor shocked if he redshirted. He is someone that should play and play a good bit. I'm not saying take someone's spot. Again, I do think that he's best suited for the X, which would be backing up J. Michael Sturdivant. So I'm not saying take someone's spot, but I am saying, or I guess I am saying take someone's spot. Take whoever's supposed to be X2. If that's Khalil Jackson, I think Dallas Wilson should take that. Honestly, and I've been very vocal about I'm not sold on Khalil Jackson. Or not even that I'm not sold. I don't think he's great. And I think that he could be replaced. And so that's where I'm going to keep standing on it. Look, it's not nice to say not nice things, but we got to be real here, right? Jaden Woods on the edge. Think he'll burn his red shirt. Like we've talked about this before with the edge room specifically. Florida has 800 plus snaps cleared up from the edge room when you talk about everybody that left, whether it was due to the portal or anybody running out of eligibility or whatever it may be. There's about 800 snaps available. Even if guys like LJ McCray, who is now playing Jack, plays significantly more snaps, even if George Gums played significantly more snaps, George Gums can only play another, 150 snaps maybe? Probably not going to go past 500, 450, something like that. LJ McCray, probably not going to even get to that number. When you look at, hey, what position has playing time available, edge is up there at the top of the list. And Jaden Woods is someone that this coaching staff seems to really love, that they've been very outspoken about. I mean, when signing day came, that was a guy that Billy Napier was like, hey, Jaden Woods is really impressive. Jaden Woods has done, Billy Napier's done multiple interviews lately in which he's gone, yeah, Jaden Woods is really impressive. From the moment he walked in, he impressed me. They did the pre-spring press conference. Billy Napier, yeah, Jaden Woods is really impressive. They keep hyping up Jaden Woods to the point where I have to imagine he's going to play at least a little bit every game, right? If he comes in and plays 10 to 15 snaps, which is different from playing 8 to 10. If he comes in and plays 10 to 15 snaps every game, he's going to burn the red shirt. If they think he can handle that workload, which I feel like he should be able to, then they're going to burn that red shirt. We're going to talk more about this 2025 class when we get back with Locked On Gators. The Armada Team of the Week is brought to you by our friends at Nissan and the all-new 2025 Nissan Armada. Each week, our Locked On college football experts, or college basketball experts, are picking one team that stands apart from top-seeded stars, the unexpected upsets. This week, we're going with the top-seeded star. This week's Armada clear-cut Team of the Week, which I hate to do, Duke Blue Devils. It should have been the Florida Gators. Okay, destroying Ole Miss, going too bad. Like, come on. John Shire's team, I mean, of course, Cooper Flagg, leading national player of the year candidate right now, I think. I feel like Janai Broom fell off after the loss, and Janai Broom doesn't deserve it. They were 19-1 in the ACC. Like they destroyed you. Team of the year, sure. Team of the week, Florida. Just saying. It's clear that our team of the week is out here ready to conquer the road ahead with confidence, just like you can in the all-new Nissan Armada and any of the new Nissan's outstanding vehicles. Take the Nissan Armada, Rogue, or Pathfinder and go find your next big adventure at shopnissanusa.com. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free. We're visiting the podcast and on YouTube. Nissan, and I'm gonna hit up our college basketball guys. Highway robbery brought Isaac Shade on the show on Saturday, and that's what they do. They pick Duke. That's nasty work. But hey, congrats, all man. But the Florida Gators 2025 class, and the next player ranked is Drake Stubbs, right? Safety who is elite, of course, the usual. Oh yeah, his ranking fell all of a sudden. That whole garbage that we see. I think he's going to burn his red shirt. I think that he's going to be one of the rotators in the actual safety room, and I make that designation for a very specific reason that we'll talk about in a couple minutes. But so I think Drake Stubbs is someone that'll burn his red shirt as a rotational player in the safety room, potentially by the end of the year, could earn a larger role. I will say this. For myself and many others that think Drake Stubbs is an elite safety recruit, first off, you're right. He is. There's no way around that. It is incredibly difficult mentally to play safety at a high level as a true freshman. Okay. Jordan Castell played as a true freshman. I don't think he played awesome. Like, that was the thing that I was very open about. I don't think he played awesome, but I think considering he was a true freshman, played awesome, which is what I've said about DJ Lagway, right? I don't think DJ Lagway was a top 5 quarterback in the country. I think he was the best true freshman quarterback, though. I don't think he had elite quarterback play. I think for a true freshman, though, he was absolutely elite. So Drake Stubbs is someone that I think will burn his red shirt. I think he's going to be a core special teamer, and I think that he's going to be someone that plays a pretty significant role defensively. So I would anticipate that. Next is TJ Dice, who I'm going to say redshirt. I don't like to say that true freshmen are going to be playing enough to burn their red shirts as on the offensive line. It's a thing that I'm always going to say. That's always how I felt. And unless a true freshman comes in and balls out and impresses enough to earn consistent playing time on the offensive line in the SEC, I'm going to keep my reservations about being able to actually play consistently as a true freshman. I also will say, I don't think there's much of a path to playing time for TJ Dice. The way that I look at it, left tackle is going to be Austin Barber and Fletcher Westphal behind him. Right tackle is going to be Bryce Levitt, Caden Jones competing for that spot. Guard is going to be any two of Najee Harris, Damian George, and Rod Kearney starting, with the other one being the rotational guard. Jake Slaughter's at center. Marcus Maskell is backing him up. Jason Zamandela is there. Jason Zandamela. Jason Zandamela is there. And so I just don't see it with Zandamela there. It's just, there's no path for, I think, Maskell to even be center too. So looking at TJ Dice, I don't see a path to playing time. I'm going to say that he redshirts. Lagonza Hayward, I think he burns it, because right now you look at what they have in the star spot. Sharif Jensen's out. Aaron Gates is out. Aaron Gates reportedly ahead of schedule with his recovery, but I don't know how much that means to me, at least, as far as when he's actually going to be back. Because again, this like, recovery is not linear. Okay, it's not something where a guy's just like, oh yeah, he's on track perfectly, it's going to hit this exact date and he's going to be there. Sometimes they're earlier, sometimes they're later. So I don't know what that's going to look like for Aaron Gates. But I can tell you that during spring ball, so far at least, Lagonza Hayward's been working out at star. Not fully, but he has been getting reps there. So I think that if you impress in that time before Sharif gets back, before Aaron Gates is back, it's Josiah Davis, Lagonza Hayward, Antonio Allen. I've been told that Greg Smith III is going to get some looks there as well. And so if Laganza can earn that playing time there, then so be it. But I think just the fact that he's working at safety and star, probably going to be a special teamer similar to Drake Stubbs. I view him as burning the red shirt. Jalen Wiggins, one that I'm a bit torn on. For now, I think I'm going to say he redshirts. I think he's a good football player. I just think right now he's got to get, or I think their goal is going to be to get him in their shape, I guess we'll say. Because I don't think he's out of shape, but I just think that they have different plans long-term wise and their strength and conditioning program. And I think right now, there's just not a clear path to playing time for him. And so that's when I look at it. I'm like, okay, well, probably going to redshirt, which also I feel like people get offended when I say I think someone's going to redshirt. I can't tell you why. It's obviously not an offensive thing. It's a realistic thing. And if we're all adults here, or most of us are adults here, then I think it's fair to say, hey, when you look at the edge group, you've got Tyreek Sapp, you've got LJ McCray, you've got George Gums, you've got Kofi Asari, you've got Cam James, you've got Jaden Woods we expect to play. Like there's guys there that there's just not enough snaps for another true freshman to come in and play significant snaps, right? So I just look at that and I say, all right, well, they've also told us, hey, Childs and Pup are going to come down and play the edge sometimes. There's a lot of snaps available. I don't know if there's enough to justify 2 true freshmen burning their red shirts there. And so I don't think Jalen Wiggins is going to get that. Ty Jackson, going to burn the red shirt, I think. Great athlete. Again, someone that should contribute on special teams. Someone that's, I think, going to be linebacker 5, I'll say, by the time the season gets here. And Florida, a linebacker 5, will play. And I say linebacker 5 behind Pup, Jaden Robinson, Miles Graham, Aaron Childs, then Ty Jackson. So I think that he'll play. Duke Clark is another one that I don't think they know yet if he's going to redshirt. Because I don't think that he's going to play much offensively this year, just similar to some other spots. I don't know if the snaps are there. Like right now at the running back room, you've got Jaden Ball wants to see more snaps than he did last year. If you've ever and I didn't hear him say that, but if you've ever spoken to him, he's a hungry kind of running back. So he's going to want more carries. Jacoby Jackson's going to want more carries. Katie Daniels is going to want more carries. Trayon Webb's back for more carries. Like there's a lot of guys there that should play. And I don't know if Duke Clark, who formerly Waltez is how he went. I don't know if Duke Clark differentiates himself enough from the others to justify playing him over anyone else. I don't care about any practice clips that come out. I mean, it's nothing to me. So I think that Duke Clark's a maybe. I think for him, if he can be a returner, I think that's something that they're going to be interested in if that's something that he can do, which is why I say I don't know if they know he's going to redshirt or not yet. We're going to talk about the rest of the enrollees, which is about 8-ish left when we get back with Locked On Gators. Attention, Florida Gators fans. If you've ever wished that you could directly support your Florida athletes, your favorite Florida athletes, and be part of their journey, now you can with Roy, the NIL app that puts fans in control. Before Roy, NIL deals are behind closed doors, and fans felt like you didn't really have a way. Like I see people on Twitter all the time. How do I donate to this specifically? How do I donate to this person specifically? Roy's how you do it. With Roy, you get to choose the player that you want to support. You decide how much you want to contribute. You get exclusive content from the athletes. And if the player transfers, you get your money back. So it's a risk-free way to show your support, make your voice heard, support your favorite players directly, and help shape the future of Florida sports. Download the right app from the App Store now and start backing the Florida Gators athletes the way that they deserve with transparency, trust, and real impact. This is the future of college sports. Join it now by downloading Roy and supporting your favorite players. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever in the podcast and on YouTube. To wrap up today's show, we're talking about the back half of the enrollees, or back bunch of the enrollees, which unsurprisingly, I'm going to say most are going to redshirt, right? Tramel Jones, redshirt. I think that you could see him against Long Island, see him in blowouts. I think he's going to wind up being QB3. Even if he winds up being QB2, that's not someone that ideally plays 4 games, right? Or 5, I guess, because you can play 4. So even if he's QB2, ideally, that's not someone that plays every game. If your starting quarterback's healthy, odds are he's going to be the one starting and finishing that game. This isn't Madden where your backup QB is your holder. College football 25. Sorry, we're talking about college, right? So this isn't college football 25 where your backup QB is your holder. This is real life where your backup QB probably isn't going to be touching the field. So even if he is QB2, I think he redshirts, right? I don't think he'll be QB2. But for the people that do think that he'll be QB2, I don't think that he would burn his redshirt at all there. Name Montgomery, I'm going to say redshirt. I think he's a tremendous football player. I think he's a great receiver, great film at Miami Central, but we've already talked about Vernell Brown III not redshirting, Dallas Wilson not redshirting, on top of having J. Mike Sturdivant, on top of having Trey Wilson, on top of having Aiden Mizell, on top of having Khalil Jackson back, on top of having Tank Hawkins, on top of having TJ Abrams, on top of everybody that you've got in that room, right? Someone has to not play. And I do think that a lot of what Nayshawn Montgomery did was, great movement skills. But I feel like a lot of what he did or a lot of what you'll see him do is just a long ball, which is great, but probably going to have to expand the route tree this time. And for Florida, you're going to have to learn that. I know that people talk about how boring the Florida Gators offense can be. It's not a simple offense to learn. We've talked about this all the time, right? It's not simple to learn how to play in that. Even if you think you know what you're getting, it's not simple to learn how to do it. And so that's why one of the reasons that I'm like, all right, he needs to learn a lot. Probably not going to play. So expect him to redshirt. Stephon Shivers, I don't think he's going to redshirt. I think he's going to be nose tackle 3 probably in there. And I mean, he's just got great size. They were talking him up the other day about his work ethic and how hard he's been working since he's gotten on campus and what he's doing. I don't feel comfortable saying that he's in a redshirt. It wouldn't shock me if he did, but right now when I look at him, I'm like, I don't know if he's gonna. Especially because nose tackle is a thing we talked about in the first portal window of, hey, Florida should go get a nose tackle. They didn't. They still can in the second window. But if they don't, that's how I'll word it. If they get a nose tackle in the second window, I'm going to say Stephon Shivers redshirts. If they don't get a nose tackle in the second window, I'm going to say he doesn't redshirt. Okay? That's going to be one for me where, yeah, that's how I'm going to take it up of depending on if they add a nose tackle there. Tight end Micah Jones, redshirt. I don't care what anyone says, how hyped up anybody is. I'm saying a true freshman tight end in this offense is redshirting. We've talked about it a billion times. We've had Hayden Hansen here say it 100 other times. It's like, yeah, tight end in this offense, you need to know a lot. You need to learn a lot. It's a very complex position, especially tight end in this offense. Especially that. That's why they call it the figure it out position. It's tough. I loved Micah Jones's film. It's not a physical thing that I'm like, oh yeah, he's not going to play much. It has nothing to do with his actual physical play. It has to do with it takes a long time to learn this offense. So I'm going to say no. He's in a redshirt. Jeremiah McLeod, I think will redshirt. Just when you look at what's on the defensive line right now, I do think Caleb Banks plays a lot. Jamari Lyons is going to play a lot. You'll see some guys like Tyreek Sapp will probably bump into 3-tech on specific situations. And there's much of a spot for Jeremiah McLeod to come in and be a significant contributor right away, which is fine, right? Like when he committed, I talked about his film and I was like, look, his big thing is relentless effort, which is great, and quick first step, also great. Like both of those things are fantastic tools to have. That's a fantastic base, but you need to develop and build off of that. He needs that time to build off of it. Okay, he needs technical refinement, which I think he'll get with Gerald Chapman. But right now, he's just motor and quick first step, and that's awesome. That's like he could probably step in right now and be a starter at the Group of 5 level. This ain't the G5. This is the SEC. He's going to take some time. I think he's going to be a really good pass rusher on the interior. It's just not going to happen yet. Chad Gasper's going to redshirt. He is still recovering from a torn ACL suffered in his senior year of high school. Running back. Don't think there's an early path to playing time for him. Jahari Medlock, offensive tackle, gonna redshirt, was a late riser throughout the process. If you remember, was committed to Cincinnati when he was an unranked player, and then he rose up the ranks, and it was Florida, Georgia Tech were I think the main three pursuing him, if I'm not mistaken. He ended up committing to Florida. And while they're very high on what he can become, again, great athlete, this is one of those guys where Florida took him with the intention of, hey, you're going to be a multi-year developer at the position, which is fine. Again, Florida has proven they like taking those guys that, especially on the offensive line, that are multi-year developmental pieces. So Jahari Medlock fits that. He's going to redshirt. Also, again, true freshman offensive line. I'm going to say you're going to redshirt. Cameron Kosman out of Missouri, tight end. I mean, shocking. I'm going to say red shirts, and same thing with Hayden Craig at punter. Neither of those players are guys that are going to be early contributors. Or I guess Hayden Craig could compete for it with Tommy Doman, but I highly doubt that they went into the portal for a punter as their first portal edition without the full intent of having him be their punter this year. So I'm expecting him to be the punter. So Hayden Craig, probably red shirt. Cameron Kosman, again, at tight end, red shirt there. Especially when you're coming up to the SEC at tight end, you got to be able to hang and bang. Like Micah Jones, I do think can physically hang and bang. I just think he needs to mentally learn how to play the position in this offense. Cameron Kosman needs to learn a bit more about how to actually operate here, and that's going to take some time. But again, there's no rush for either of them, right? Hayden Hansen, Caleb Rillos, Tony Livingston, Amir Jackson. There's guys at tight end, so I'm not stressing about that. So I do think that overall, that's a good chunk of your guys not redshirting. You don't want guys that are starters. You don't want a bunch of true freshmen that are starters. But if you have a bunch of true freshmen that are burning red shirts as just depth pieces, but getting meaningful snaps, that's the ideal situation, right? Get them meaningful snaps. Let them learn how to play the position. Let them learn how to play the position. Let them learn how to play the offense or the defense. And when it's time for them to take on larger roles with your team, you'll know what you have generally. Of course, it'll be a smaller sample size, but you'll know what they're bringing to the table. And that's huge for a team that's looking to build and sustain long-term growth and long-term success. So for the Florida Gators, I think they're in a good spot as far as how many true freshmen are going to burn their red shirts. Just a matter of actually putting them on the field and seeing it happen. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free, wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. We'll be back to talk more Florida Gators football tomorrow. For Locked On Gators and Brandon Olsen, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find out my written work for New York Giants on SI, and I'll see you all next time.